textbooks, and much more. Check them out again at dotsrpg.com. Our show varies each week, but typically includes the latest general RPG news related to our focus on role-playing games and research, community response and discussion, role-playing game-related theory and application discussions, updates on communities and professionals using role-playing games throughout the world, and often special guests, the latest updates on RPG research, the RPG bus, the RPG trailer, the RPG tour, RPG education, and many, many, many other programs that we're involved with in various degrees. And while our primary show hosts are typically Hawk Robinson and John Welker, hosts, co-hosts, and guests may vary from week to week. The RPG Talk Show will begin in a few minutes. This message may repeat. The RPG Talk Show discusses weekly news, information, commentary, discussion, and debate about the effects of all role-playing game formats and their potential uses for professional, educational, recreational, and therapeutic goals. The RPG Talk Show is not about the latest modules and releases. There are plenty of sources for that information. We will mention such releases when related to the aforementioned topics, however. You can learn more about the RPG Talk Show, hosts, guests, and archives of previous episodes on our website at rpgtalkshow.com. You can follow us on Twitter at RPG Talk Show. You can catch our show live on twitch.tv/RPG Research or on youtube.com/RPG Research, Thursdays, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and chat with us during the live broadcast. RPG Research Patreon supporters can access the recorded episodes a month or more before they are available to the general public as a thank you for your support. You can become a Patreon supporter by swinging by patreon.com/RPG Research. Those videos will then later be available on youtube.com/RPG Research. Role-playing game formats we discuss include the original tabletop RPG, usually referred to just as RPG or TRPG. Please, either no T's or just one T. There's no need for a second T, as in TTRPG. That's just wasteful of air and paper and typing and time. So please, just RPG or TRPG for tabletop role-playing games. Live-action role-playing games, LRPG, including LARPs. Electronic role-playing games, aka ERPG, which includes solo games and massive multiplayer online games, everything in between, VR, AR, PR, etc. And then hybrid role-playing games, HRPGs, which also include solo adventure books and modules. This episode is sponsored by the wonderful, wonderful Patreon supporters for the nonprofit RPG Research. We are also sponsored by RPG Therapeutics LLC and Dots RPG through their kind donations to RPG Research. You can learn more about RPG Research, the nonprofit 501c3 research and human services organization, studying the effects of all role-playing game formats and their potential to help improve lives at www.rpgresearch.com. A quick little quote from them. We are helping people heal and improving the quality of life for diverse populations around the world by providing accessible and inclusive collaborative research-supported programs using music and role-playing games. Researching RPGs since 1983, providing programs in schools since 1985, in therapeutic settings and online since 2004. A 501c3 nonprofit provides an open international community, sharing, studying, and providing accessible and inclusive collaborative music and games to help improve people's lives. You can learn more about RPG Therapeutics LLC, the for-profit professional services company, at rpgtherapeutics.com. 20% of their profits are donated to RPG Research, and the book publications, the profits are donated to RPG Research. And also the nonprofit Dots RPG at dotsrpg.com. They are kindly out there helping advocate for accessibility. They are creating Braille dice and sharing those freely, Braille textbooks, and much more. Check them out again at dotsrpg.com. Our show varies each week, but typically includes the latest general RPG news related to our focus on role-playing games and research, community response and discussion, role-playing game-related theory and application discussions, updates on communities and professionals using role-playing games throughout the world, and often special guests. The latest updates on RPG research, the RPG bus, the RPG trailer, the RPG tour, RPG education, and many, many, many other programs that we're involved with in various degrees. And while our primary show hosts are typically Hawk Robinson and John Welker, hosts, co-hosts, and guests may vary from week to week. The RPG Talk Show will begin in a few minutes. This message may repeat. The RPG Talk Show discusses weekly news, information, commentary, discussion, and debate about the effects of all role-playing game formats and their potential uses for professional, educational, recreational, and therapeutic goals. The RPG Talk Show discusses weekly news, information, commentary, discussion, and debate about the effects of all role-playing game formats and their potential uses for professional, educational, recreational, and therapeutic goals. The RPG Talk Show is not about the latest modules and releases. There are plenty of sources for that information. We will mention such releases when related to the Yeah, you got to make sure you see that. Focusrite 18.
Okay.
Again, I'll work on a checklist being here at some point.
Yeah.
Once we have it stabilized. The RPG Talk Show discusses weekly news, information, commentary, discussion, and debate about the effects of all role-playing game formats and their potential uses for professional, educational, recreational, and therapeutic goals. The RPG Talk Show is not about the latest modules and releases. There are plenty of sources for that information.
Hail and well met, and welcome back to RPG Talk Show, episode 111 on April 4th, 2019. We did experience a little bit of technical difficulty there, where I was talking for a few minutes to absolutely nobody because I forgot to turn the microphone on. But we're back, and we will get it right this time. And we are, as we can see, we're going to talk about the news in the RPG world and preferably how they affect us in the therapeutic world and in education and those kind of things. What I was talking about during the long silence, where everybody just watched my lips flapping there for a moment, is Critical Core. It is a Kickstarter tabletop game that helps kids on the autism spectrum build confidence and social skills one dragon at a time. This is a game that is at targeted audiences. It is meant, anybody can play it, of course, but it has special information there for people to use it for therapeutic needs. So it comes with the Facilitator's Guide for parents, therapists, and game masters, our best practices on running fun and effective therapeutic gaming groups, player and game master guides, quick start rules and playing guides for players and game masters. Now it says quick start rules, so I'm assuming that eventually they'll come out with a more fuller set of rules, but this is to get us going on this. There will be adventure modules tested and tuned to be challenging and fun. There will be additional modules that I will talk about in just a moment. There are 4 sets of dice, one for each player and one for the game master, enough to run a 3 players game out of the box. Of course, you supply your own player dice and bring your groups up larger if you need to. Character sheets, 4 popular hero archetypes, each with their own unique abilities. Additional archetypes have been opened up through the stretch goals. And we also have game cards. These are not required for play, but helpful aids for both players and game masters. Visualization, quick reference rules, and spell cards. Please note, when I say we, I mean that in the colloquial, I do not actually have a stake in this game, other than that RPG Research did help fund this. Game tokens, visualization aids for working with the included map. Game tokens are kind of like using miniatures, except they're little flat discs with pictures of the creatures, the player characters, etc. on them. And there's a reusable map. It's whiteboard marker friendly, and they're all good tools to have handy to get everything running. They were trying to get a $48,000 goal, and that would have gotten the things I've already mentioned. But they've surpassed that. They're now at $149,443. They are literally only a couple $100 away. Many. It's $557 away from the next goal. $557 is the next goal. Would bring us up to $150,000. And we only have 21 days left to do that in. I'm pretty sure they're going to get that. And I'm really excited about some of these stretch goals that they have coming up. So to start with, the first stretch goal was $60,000, and that gave us a how-to video. These are 3 videos showing new game masters how to use Critical Core to maximum effectiveness, hosted by the Critical Core team. At $80,000, we got the Bard and Barbarian character classes, and they will include the additional artwork and be added to the starter set and the digital versions. The Star of Elivagar is a digital adventure module for Game to Grow. That was added. $115,000 got us the Druid Monk character classes. Again, those will be in the starter set and the digital versions. More options are given. So now we have a total of 8 character archetypes. And my most exciting part is Shannon Germain Adventure Module. Shannon Germain is the amazing creator of No Thank You Evil, co-owner of Montclair Games, and she's going to work with us to craft a Critical Core digital adventure. That was at the $130,000 mark. And finally, at the $150,000 mark, Jerry Holkins Adventure Module. Jerry Holkins is the co-creator of Penny Arcade and PAX. Jerry Holkins is an epic force in gaming and a champion of neurodiversity. We can't wait to get started with this new digital module for Critical Core. So like I said, $557 more. We'll get that and find out what other stretch goals may be added to this. Maybe a more full rule set or something cool. I don't know. I have things that I would like to see, but that would really up the price, like turn our tokens into miniatures or something like that. But we'll have to wait and see what's going, and hopefully real soon we'll get that additional $557. Now, Critical Core is not to be mistaken for Critical Role. Critical Role, The Legend of Vox Machina animated special Kickstarter, is a big deal in of itself. Now, Critical Role, if you have not heard over my last few broadcasts or have not heard because you have not seen Twitter, YouTube, or any of those other sites, they are a live streaming RPG game that comes out every Thursday. It's the most popular live stream of a Dungeons and Dragons game. Everybody is voice actors, starring Matt Mercer, and there's good production values and all kinds of things. And people really, really love it. How much do they love it? Well, they wanted to do an animated special and raise $750,000 to get one episode. That's all they wanted. They weren't going to do any more than that. But they reached, they're the number 3 fastest funded, number 3 fastest to $1 million. They're funded really super fast, and currently at 8.6 million. And 8.61 million. It just moved up again. This has only 14 days left. Their last goal is 8.8 million. I don't think they're going to have another additional stretch goal after the 8.8 million, but I could be wrong. But currently we're at 8.61 million with 14 days left to go. And what does that give us? Well, what that gives us is that at 8.8 million, we have the completed series. So that would be the conclusion of the Briarwood arc and a one-shot and several other special episodes. But we have become an entire series of episodes, and that is real close to finishing off the series. It's season 1 will be the almost completed, but the last 2 episodes are, you need to get to the 8.8 million to get the last 2 episodes of the Briarwood arc. If you're a fan of Vox Machina, then you know about the Briarwood arc. The initial one is a precursor to the show. And right now they are number 7 out of every single Kickstarter that's ever been. Now they're number 1 out of Kickstarters that only apply to video production, movies, cartoons, things like that. But for the entire thing, they are number 7. We're looking at the people that are not better, but currently making more than they are. Exploding Kittens, which is a card game, it was 8.78 million. World's Best Travel Jacket, 9.19 million. Pebble ePaper for iPhone and Android. That Pebble is a smartwatch. That made 10.27. Kingdom Death Monsters board game, 1.5, $12.39 million for a board game. I find that amazing. Pebble 2 So Pebble 3's got three things. I mean, Pebble has got three things. Pebble 2 brought in $12.78 million. Coolest Cooler, which is a lunch cooler. It's a cooler that you put beer in. If you want your cooler to also play music, charge your phone, and drive. Yeah, it's self-mounted. That only brought in $13.2 million. Mm-hmm. Now, number one, I do not believe that Critical Core or Critical Role will get to the number one slot anytime. I'm really going to be happy to see it get to number 6. And you need to turn on your microphone. You need to turn it on. However you're doing, do that. Which one of these mics is it? But anyways, Pebble Time is $20.34 million. Now, in just a second. This one?
Is it? No. That's Capture. That's desktop audio. That one? Like, hello? Hello? Nope. Well, wait, is yours not on at GM?
No, that's mine. Mine is the one that you see.
Okay, well then what's GM?
Say something.
Something.
No, it's not that one.
Something. Something? That's not, it would be lower. Because that's Capture. The other one was... Hello, hello, hello. It's gotta be the last one, right? No? Hello, hello. All of the mics are on and mine's not going. Is this one on? Can you scroll down?
Don't injure yourself.
I'm in the chat room telling you what to do. Come here.
Oh.
Come here. Whatever you do down there, don't touch the switches on that microphone. Did you change the switches on it?
I didn't touch anything on that microphone.
Okay, good. Number 2.
And so you turn it.
You just turn, right now it's turned off all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Just turn it up. Make it you know, about 3/4 of that mic. And then you go tap it and see if it shows up on there.
There it is.
You go.
Hooray!
Hooray!
Now, I have too many mics on, but I don't dare turn anything off. All
Oh.
right, so we've been running the show for a little bit. Can you introduce yourself to our audience?
I'm Danielle, and I'm really sorry I got stuck all the way on the other side of town behind an ambulance.
Okay. As long as you didn't cause any accidents, we should be good.
Nope, just took forever, unfortunately. As a matter of fact, off with the other badge.
If it wasn't for technical difficulties, we wouldn't have any difficulties at all. All right.
We have lots of technical difficulties. If anyone wants them, they can have them.
We've been talking about the Kickstarters. We're going to go into the news, go through different articles. Have you had a chance to look at them?
No, because I worked, and then I was sick yesterday.
You do realize you're not authorized to be sick. It's a time waster.
It is a time waster. It's why I had to work all day today.
Well, we haven't got a lot of time, so I'm going to just go over some of these in highlights and tell people where to find them. Mythcreants, that's mythcreants.com. Blog /blog/7 design mistakes role-playing games keep making. And this is an opinion piece, but it does have things that when you're designing a game that you may want to look into, or if you want to house rule a game, you might want to look into.
What are the 7?
The first one is the ability tax. This is optional abilities that aren't optional. For example, you have a game like Legends of the Five Rings, where if you want to play a monk and not use weapons, you have to take this ability or you're going to hit very weakly. You have to take Stone Fist. If you're playing World of Darkness, you can't really use your magic unless you spend points raising it up. Your starting thing doesn't work right.
Okay.
Star Wars Edge of the Empire has low-tier abilities that remove special penalties that rarely, if ever, come up. But if you don't take those seemingly useless options, then you can't get the better ones later on because they're tiered. Ability attacks create traps in character creation. If you're not aware of what you're doing, you'll find out that you have a less than optimal character. Is this arguing for min-maxing, or is this just trying to get game balance and knowing what you can do with your character? The Wizard King is number 2. Magic users are overpowered, which is, Magic wants to be special and stuff, but there's no reason to play anything other than a Force user in Dice 6 Star Wars system because they're so much better than everybody else.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate. So I play a lot of games. Too many games, some might say.
In my professional opinion, no.
Well, you only see maybe a tenth of the games I play. But I kind of hate when you're straight out the box min-maxing because it doesn't create any challenge.
Well,
or even heading towards the min-maxing.
There is something to be said about min-maxers that just because they min-max their statistics in the character doesn't mean they don't roleplay.
Exactly. Well, and it also, I think this one's for all games, correct?
Yeah, this is all games. They're looking at many different systems. He's talking about like Burning Wheel, Star Trek, World of Darkness. He's not even really getting on to Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
But Burning Wheel, actually a great example. If you take out its skill buff spells, sorcerers can shoot lightning out of their hands, but to cast such a spell successfully, you need not to be stabbed during the long incantation. You can get things messy up there. Also, the final option is to give everyone the same access to magic as you see in Call of Cthulhu, where if you pick the right things, you can start learning magic. Of course, casting magic in Call of Cthulhu has its own dangers.
Yeah.
The gear grind. So in some games, your gear is more important than your stats.
In a lot of games. A lot of homebrews that I hear about, especially from the younger audience, the gear they get makes them almost invincible.
Right. And one of the other things that they noticed, like in Dungeons & Dragons 3rd or 4th edition, it became, if you wanted to play organized play at the higher tiers, you had to have certain gear to fight the monsters. You could not, everything needed a magic sword or something to get there. Mm-hmm. And now they've gotten ways around that where you can still fight. You may be less effective, but you can still survive even if your dungeon master never gives you a magic item. It's no longer mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
Gear grinding not only takes the spotlight for the characters themselves, but also gets out of control really fast. The difference between a single shot and auto-fire weapons in Call of Cthulhu is so vast that PCs can handle even the most terrifying eldritch monster once they get some AK-47s. So there's talk about gear grinding and what you want to do that. There's the hit point mountain where, okay, how many crossbow shots do you think you could survive roughly? For most human made of meat, the answer is, oh my god, why would you shoot me with a crossbow? On the other hand, if you're a role-playing character, chances are good that you won't be a problem at all. So you have let's just say 15th level fighter. Mm-hmm. You can take max damage on a crossbow and go, yeah, so?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of see that because, at most, I think I could take 2 crossbow hits, but that's if they were in, strategic places.
I don't want to scare you and tell you how many crossbow bolts I can hit you with and still keep you alive. So we'll just move on from that one.
If someone's trying to kill you, I think it's 2. I think the average person would be 2.
Yeah, it all depends on where they hit.
Mm-hmm.
Because it only takes 1.
Yeah. It only takes one, but I think the average would be 2 if we were to put regular humans in a laser quest kind of thing.
Right.
And then determine their deadliness of the hits. Which is totally applicable.
Now, the number 5th thing is incomplete rules. Everything from just annoying to game breaking, because gives cost. Okay, so most commonly you get incomplete rules, auxiliary sections that, while not required to play the game, would have been a nice addition. L5R 4th edition crafts rules, for example, essentially add nothing to the game, yet they take up an entire page doing it. This gives cost and times for crafting ordinary run-of-the-mill items. There are no rules for making anything unusual or of exceptional quality. In other words, no PC will ever use them. It also gets the currency conversion wrong, which is just confusing. If the designer left out these rules, no one would miss them.
I like crafting, though, because then that gives you an idea of the base for some of the characters, because they want to craft something, and I think that's more of a conversation with your DM on whether or not they're of a high enough quality to craft something that's extreme.
Well, that was the thing. There's no exceptional rules. One of the things I miss from 5th edition, in 5th edition, from 3rd edition, I don't really know if this even exists in 4th edition because I prefer not to remember that stage of our lives. But there was creation rules. And with creation rules, my character can make armor. My character can make boats and do things. And you can actually run your campaign sometimes around creating things and making things. There is a new Kickstarter out that's almost over. And let's see if I can find it real here quick. It's Witch + Craft 5E. And that's a Kickstarter subject that I put into for, and it's all about crafting things for 5th edition.
That's nice.
They're 153 out of 31,000 they wanted. They have 19 hours left to go. So if you want to get on that one, please do right away. I can't wait. I put in.
So is it good? My brain didn't calculate those numbers.
153 out of 31.
Oh yes. Okay.
So yeah, slightly better. There's only 19 hours left to go, but this actually gives you add a second class to your character. So I am a fighter, but I'm also a blacksmith or a wood carver or something. Our fighter in our group is a wood carver.
Okay.
Then you can be a butcher, baker, candlestick maker with all these other things. And you can gain boons and penalties for making stuff. And you can have entire quests. In fact, the book will have a module for 5th level characters to go on quest for items to create things. So that'll be very cool.
I'm interested in playing that one.
Well, I have the playtest version is free. I have that right now, and I've already started running it. We haven't done a lot in their characters' creation because they are in busy mode right now. They're just establishing their new tavern and stuff like that. But some of them are more excited in doing these things
than others. Yeah. Well, I'm the person, especially in computer-based RPGs, like me and my fiance and his best friend are running through Borderlands 1 right now, the remaster. And I am the person that slows down the party wanting to get every loot box and sell every weapon back to the store so that when that shiny weapon or that shiny shield or something comes up in the store, I have money to buy it. Okay. And also I die a lot, so I need a lot of help. But that's because they're way more experienced than I am, and I don't know how to use that character in that game. It's not my forte, but it's fun.
And when he's talking about incomplete rules, there's other things like when you're missing parts of the mechanics that the core rules themselves don't finish. Dungeon World has such a problem. It's full of rules that tell you something and then don't explain what it means. Some weapons have their reach listed in feet. but there's no indication what advantage or disadvantage that grants or etc. Characters have to eat, but there's no indication what happens if they don't. So like exhaustion rules and things like that. So
yeah,
if you have to house rule too much, then the rules weren't complete to begin with in the first place. Now the other flaw, number 6, is repetitive skills. So,
like in D&D 5e, where they have the in the corner, the upper corner, they have the like is good at healing people, and then you can have proficiency in health and the bride's character problem.
Okay, so you're talking about Adventures in Middle-earth, which is a overlay on top of 5th edition rules.
Yes. I'm sorry, guys.
They have what you're referring to as her specialty.
Yeah.
Is that she's a healer, which means that with her skill in healing, this isn't a repetitive. This is an addition to her skill. Okay. So her skill in healing, she has an advantage on those rolls if she's using the fact that she's a healer.
Yeah.
So she can definitely easier for her to stabilize somebody or to work with herbs. Now, that skill I think is much better on a healer character like the scholar, but it gives a little bit of extra healing there. That is not what they mean by repetitive skills. So in Doctor Who, we have a rule, just transport. So what does transport let you drive?
The TARDIS? Or what, anything?
Pretty much anything.
Oh.
A car, a plane, a boat.
Okay.
But in some games, you might see driver sedan, driver passenger car, driver tank. Every vehicle has its own skills.
So, Car Wars and... Oh, what's the other one that does that? I forget which one. I played one that was redundant in that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, sometimes you need that because you're not going to jump into a semi after driving a 2-door sedan and actually be able to drive it very well. So, but yeah, I totally see how they can be redundant if you go too far in.
Having skills in every single different rifle or pistol separately.
I'm hearing Roll Master.
Yeah. My personal favorite was making a character with lots of points in scuba, but none in swim. So I know how to use scuba gear, but I don't know how to swim.
So you can only swim when your scuba suit is on?
I don't know. Or you only sit still underwater with your scuba gear on?
Rope!
Call of Cthulhu 7th edition pared down a lot of its repetitive skills. Burning Will has problems in spades. Hunting is supplemented not by 1, but by 2, but by 3 other skills. After all, there are 3 main tasks for hunting. One, follow the prey. 2, kill the prey. 3, get back with some prey. It's covered under tracking, represented by weapon skill, the bow. And then the orienteering skill. In Dungeons & Dragons, you just have survival, covers all of those. One of the most obvious problems with repetitive skills, other than sounding dumb, is that when you explain them, is that they punish players who spread their points out. Purchasing 2 skills might not let you perform 2 different tasks, but rather the same task twice. Players who only put points in one of the repetitive options are rewarded unfairly.
I'm gonna make it so I can read it, because I can't read it.
Yeah. I need to move this screen over a little bit because he's talking and I can't see what he says with only half the chat window open. Yes, we will continue to go on a little over our regular time because of the late start. Repetitive combat. Some combat games just become a slog. You hit the orc hits you. You hit the orc again, rinse, repeat, etc., etc. I think a lot of that has to lay on the Dungeon Master. While true, you can just roll the numbers and get the hits. I swing, I hit, I swing, I hit, I do damage.
But that's...
You can do the exact same rules and play out. I duck down low, bringing my axe up and cut him in the leg for 3 points of damage. That was kind of easy.
And I thought it was real deep, but it really wasn't.
I felt my arm go numb with the power of my missing. Let's see. Systems that present false choices also fall in the category. Swashbuckling 70Cs. Players give an option to split their dice between attack and defense, but little math shows that each option is almost exactly the same. Mouse Guard has the same problem too, because while it gives many options of combat, attacks are by far most powerful. So those are the kinds of things that he was talking about. I do want to move on, get to the more of the news stuff. So, you're working for RPG Therapeutics. It's a dream job.
It is a dream job.
Another dream job out there is who wants a job as Wizard of the Coast Community Manager?
I did read this one.
Satine Phoenix. Her contract expires this month. This was put out on March 30th, so it's done. Satine Phoenix is now unemployed from Wizard of the Coast. She's got lots of other projects, and she's going to be just fine. Mm-hmm. But this means there's now an opening. So go to inworld.org for the article, or just click on Wizards of the Coast website and click on their job listings. And
I don't think I could be the community coordinator. That's a lot.
Well, let's talk about it. Mm-hmm. Day in the life of a community manager. You establish community best practice for Dungeons & Dragons brand. Cultivate the D&D community that is open, invitive, and positive. Engage the community daily in discussion of products and lifestyle around the game. Identify and mitigate community concerns as they emerge. Be the champion for the players and keep the company honest to its player needs. You are literally the face of Dungeons & Dragons.
Yes.
Take consumer insights and forge them into actions and strategies. Track effectiveness of community engagement and express them in ongoing reports. Let's see if you qualify for their what you'll bring. A bachelor's degree is required, ideally in marketing or communications discipline.
Nope, I have it in recreation therapy.
Well, that's communications required in therapy. I'm just saying. Now, marketing we're not so good in.
Well, we're not so good in here, but I have a fairly decent marketing background with my other nonprofit, and we did go over marketing for special events, which is more of what that would be versus this kind of awkward gelatinous beast that we're trying to juggle. Oops.
So, 3 to 7 years of experience in games, community management, tabletop, or video game.
Yes.
Corporate experience is an absolute must. Have you ever worked for a corporation?
Yes.
Yeah, you're good to go.
I've worked for Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
and therapeutics. Well, it's not a corporation.
It is a corporation.
Oh, it is?
It's an LLC.
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
It's in the title.
Mm-hmm.
So, experience in AA Games brand recommended. You know what AAA gaming brands are?
No.
I believe that's Avalon Hill.
I have played Avalon Hill before.
Yeah. Experience in team leadership and high-level community strategy.
Yep, I actually have a certification in team leader and challenge course.
Okay. Hands-on experience in community building.
Yes.
In-depth knowledge of all emerging social platforms, including Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, forums, and Discord.
No.
Okay.
I don't know about Twitter because I refuse to get one.
Besides, it cost you your other dream job, working for us.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, that one's kind of isn't it supposed to rotate a little more?
No, it is a temporary job, obviously, because her contract ended.
Mm-hmm.
How long was she the manager for?
I think it was 4 years, wasn't it?
It may have been.
I think that's a job with
could have been just 1 year.
Expiration date on it.
Now they get new, fresh faces in there. I think she was only actually there for a year. Because she says it's such an amazing year with my friends at Wizards of the Coast. So I was hoping that job would last longer. She was doing a good job at it.
That's a hard job to only have for a year. Because you start to get a routine, you start to be able to do all that social media platforms and really get it down and get people engaged with the stuff that you want to put out there, and then you're done.
So, have you seen?
It's about Rollmaster.
Oh yeah. So Hawk's thinking we should expose people to Rollmaster. Of course, the only issue is that it'll have to be a current imprint version. We could do the lighter harp version first. Should I plan for that so people learn more deadly combat systems and how to make people become combat averse, the deadliness of the character, losing bits and pieces? Well, you could do that, or I can just be a much more crueler dungeon master or storyteller with Doctor Who, because Doctor Who has a lot of the weapons are labeled as L, which means if they hit you, they kill you, and you're done. Now, there's things you can do to help save yourself, use hero points and things like that, but if you get into a firefight in some of these games, a hit is death in a lot of them. Twilight 2000, you will die. So, Hawk presented us
almost exactly a year, it looks like.
Yep. MythicSolutions.ca in Canada.
Are these the same people who they hired the woman who I cannot recall's name right now, who preaches about 1 hour a day of video gaming?
No, this is in Canada.
Yeah, that's in Canada too.
Okay. Well, let me read what they have on their front page. Mythic Solution believes that we are healthier as part of a community, that we ourselves become healthier through creative self-expression and personal awareness. We also believe that these things and more can be found in role-playing games. Through group storytelling and narration, we can change who we are, exploring how we would like to be. Role-playing games are about more than slaying fictional monsters with an imaginary sword. They are about people getting together to cooperatively tell a story. A story in which characters experience various struggles and challenges, but through teamwork and creativity, create a tale that resonates with the players themselves. Our game masters share more than a love of gaming. We believe that by playing through guided scenarios, aka role-playing games, we can support cognitive development in our youth. We can encourage and develop skills such as reading, math, critical thinking, problem-solving, teamwork, and leadership, as well as share understanding relating to the history, culture, and traditions of our own and other peoples. It sounds a little bit like RPG research.
It does.
These skills and knowledge are relevant for our children and youth, especially in the North. Long, cold winters and remote communities, people of all ages can struggle to find healthy ways to keep busy or engaged. Young people and adults alike can get caught up in antisocial, unhealthy, and reckless behavior. However, a group of gamers can always find something to do on a cold winter day. They can gather as friends without needing drugs or alcohol, and they can build bonds of community and friendship instead of getting bored or into trouble. Mythic Solutions aims to use role-playing and cooperative storytelling to foster individuals' well-being and to build better communities.
Talking about an experimental series.
Right. Now, most of my friends were found through role-playing games, because one of the first things I do when I get into a new town is advertise that I'm a dungeon master who wants to join me. And people find out, oh, I don't have to DM, I'm going to that game.
Yes.
And so that's pretty cool. So what does Mystic Solutions do?
I don't know. Let's check out their website.
Dinner and Dragons 2018. Presented by JP Co. Yukon's Mortgage Brokers, Yukon Comic Culture Society, Mythic Solutions. Taking place at the White House Guild Hall. Dinner and Dragons is a themed dining event. Our guests will be sorting and placed into several small groups of approximately 5 plus GM. Each participant will be given a character to act out, much like a murder or mystery. Our GMs will guide their respective groups as they direct their characters through evolving story experience. So I guess you go and you have dinner, and then you get spread out and play Dungeons and Dragons. Following the conclusion of the individual stories, participants will be invited to share in a medieval-themed dinner, so you eat afterwards, and conversation while enjoying historical demonstrations by the Company of the White Wolf. So kind of like going to
a murder mystery party.
Well, I was thinking of going to medieval times, watching people joust while you eat dinner. After dinner, one person from each of the previous groups will be nominated to participate in the final chapter. With an audience cheering them on, those heroes will take the plots generated earlier and weave them into an epic conclusion of the story. So, everybody plays, but every table just gets one person from each of the tables to play in the final one while everybody else watches. That sounds like fun. Grand campaign paths, Three Council of Lords, Defense of Delwith, lots of storylines that they've been doing. Programs. Our core programs. Mythic Solutions offers 3 separate program streams. Therapeutic, working in partnership with local counselors and therapists. Participants with their counselors work collaboratively with our game masters to identify goals and objectives, and establish scenarios by which participants can address their concerns. Healthy Community. Our Healthy Community programs are targeted towards education development programs and also the remote communities in the North. Mystic Solutions believes not only do role-playing games promote brain development, problem-solving, and critical thinking, but that they also support positive social interaction and can ease cases of isolation and loneliness. Recreation and enjoyment goes without saying. So, this sounds a lot like what we're doing. As Hawk has mentioned, folks will probably want to check out our growing list of locations, sites, providers, and resources at https://www.rpgresearch.com/about/rel. Click on the link in the comments down below, and you'll be able to go to that and see what we're doing and where.
And where you can find someone closest to you, such as the Banana Group, or hopefully this will be added fairly soon, because we just found out about it. It's already on there.
Okay, so good. We got Mystic Solutions already on the thing as a Canadian option, and it sounds very similar to what we're doing, so some collaboration with them, I think, is worthwhile.
We should probably reach out.
Now, the next article is of DiceandDragons.com, the future of the RPG Blog Alliance. Have you read this one?
No. I was very, very bad, and yesterday I was very, very ill.
You don't have to give a full explanation. People don't want to know what your temperature was.
No.
Okay. Anyways, as many are aware, Google Plus is closing its doors, and with this community that we were using as a base for the RPG Blog Alliance, we'll be going with it as the keeper of the keys, so to speak. I've been giving it some serious thoughts and feel it's time to morph things a bit. I hope to improve the RPGBA going forward. The first and largest step is to give RPGBA a home and on the open internet again. New hub for RPGBA will be located here at Dice and Dragons. You can find it in the menu on the top of the site right now, or directly linked to it at RPG Blog Alliance. So, if you are following the RPG Blog Alliance on Google Plus, we were doing things with Google Plus. And we used to do some things on there. We also had the professional GMs would talk on there. That's just the things that we issues, but now the Google Plus has gone down. It's had an impact on us all for how we broadcast our shows and where our chat rooms are. So there are blogs there for people to look into. Now, World Leisure Journal. So Rutledge, Taylor, and Francis Group. You know anything about them?
No, I do not.
They're publishers, and there's a World Leisure Journal.
Mm-hmm. I do know about the World Leisure Journal.
Okay, so tell us about the World Leisure Journal.
I've only read from it a few times. I've never figured out what they were doing. I just found an article in them. Their midst. It got shown my way from other sites that I use.
Okay. So, think.taylorandfrancis.com is where you go. World Leisure Journal for Children and Youth. They're having a special issue. And papers are therefore invited to cover are not limited to the following themes surrounding leisure for children and youth: immigration, poverty, homelessness, race and ethnicity, gender, inclusion, disability, physical, cognitive, emotional, psychology, social, LGBT, families, cultural responsiveness, community youth developments, youth engagement and decision making, youth policy, prediction, prevention, intervention paradigms, out of school time, nature and outdoors, camps, expressive arts, sports, technology, assessment, and positive youth development. So if we want an article or something like that, we need to submit something by 5 May. And the submission guidelines are on the right side of the page. These are manuscripts to be written in English, not exceeding 5,000 words, double space, etc. Send your manuscript to help publish your research. We aim to make publishing with Taylor and Francis a rewarding experience for all our authors. Please visit our Author Services website for more information and guidance, and do contact us if there's anything you can help with. Okay, so why would I bring this up? Well, simply because we publish our own papers on the RPG Research website. RPG Publishing is another property of Hawk Robinson, but
since we're self-publishing, it doesn't bring us the credibility that being published in a well-known journal like this one would do.
Even with our self-publishing of our books.
Our books is okay.
Yeah, our journal articles. So this is something here. Danielle, hurry up, get that article written.
Yeah, because that's something I'm really good at.
We only need 5,000 pages. And there's a lot to be written about here, how role-playing games can affect leisure for children and youth. So I think we definitely need an RPG research article in there, as long as it doesn't interfere with the articles and books that we are currently writing.
This might be something good for one of the in-depth research questions that our research team is going over.
Yep, we got a new researcher who should be coming around any minute now to sign up some paperwork. Hopefully he'll be here soon.
Okay.
And he is definitely a very good researcher. According to his information and what he's told me, I think he's going to be a good asset.
Nice.
Now, so I've got a couple of articles here. Normally we don't talk about new products coming out because there's a lot of sites that do that. We'll talk about them as if they relate directly to things that we're dealing with. Acquisitions Incorporated. This is Penny Arcade. PAX's events are things that we need to go to more of, and their Acquisitions Incorporated, which includes Binwin, Dwarf, and there's a web comic called Binwin's Minions. This is where you'll find people like Chris Perkins, one of the head people for Dungeons and Dragons, actually running games. You see them at conventions and stuff like that. Well, they've come out with a 224 hardcover source book that provides players and game masters the tools they need to open a franchise of Acquisitions Incorporated company, including backgrounds, etc. So, if you want to be doing a corporate version of Dungeons and Dragons, this is the way to go. Dungeons & Dragons continues to be the forefront of the strong growth in the category of role-playing games. He's brought our acceptance in mainstream pop culture on our pro site, Pro D&D is normalized, and top 5 role-playing games of fall 2018. Dungeons & Dragons is becoming more normalized. As you can see with D&D Acquisition Incorporated, a live-action watching people play role-playing games, and Critical Core getting books. Critical Core already has a source book. All of this stuff is just more clues of that, how normal we're becoming. The regular news has to announce when a Kickstarter does $8.6 million for a cartoon based on a D&D game.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. And if all of the ones you were listing have variants on them. I think the top 2, don't they have variants? At least 2 out of the ones you've listed have variants that are tabletop RPGs too.
Well, they're all Dungeons & Dragons.
No, I meant of the top.
Are you talking the top Kickstarters?
Yep.
No.
I thought so.
Kickstarter's Pebble Time is a watch. Coolest Cooler is a cooler. Pebble Time is a watch. Kingdom Death is a board game. Does not have a role-playing game version of it. Pebble is again a watch. World's Best Travel Jacket is a garment.
It is a garment.
Exploding Kittens is a card game that does not have a role-playing game.
Yet.
Oya, a new kind of video game console, is a console and is not an RPG. Seventh Continent might eventually get an RPG. But of the top 10, no, none of them are role-playing games related.
Okay. I guess I was wrong. Although I do think 2 of them will eventually have it with the way that it's going.
Well, we're in the top 6 with Critical Role right now.
Yeah.
There have never been a RPG related item in the top 15.
Oh, okay.
Top 16. But there is now.
Yep.
So does that mean that some RPG related products can start getting up in these numbers? I don't know. Because, videos are more accessible. Now, one of the
being in a peer-reviewed journal would help.
Yes, I
because
agree.
Then it's not self-publishing. There is problems with self-publishing. There's a lot of freedom with self-publishing.
But without the peer review,
without the external peer review.
Exactly. It's like the police said, we investigated ourselves and found we did nothing wrong.
So the last 2 are game releases as well.
Right.
Which we normally don't say anything about, but they are pretty exciting. I'm personally extremely excited about there being an actual Dune role-playing game.
Hawk has been complaining for years about not doing. He was surprised that nobody had ever taken on that. He's got a small list of franchises that he can't believe never made into role-playing games. Well, that is no more. Gale Force 9 reached multi-year licensing agreement with Legendary Entertainment and Herbert Properties LLC to bring the expansive Dune sci-fi franchise to the tabletop gaming. You want to talk about that? Because this one's exciting to you.
I'm really excited. I want to know more about it, and I haven't heard a lot. Just mostly that it's coming. Woo. But when I was growing up, I watched a ton of sci-fi. But one of the movies that my whole family would sit down for was Dune, whereas wouldn't always be that way with some of our regular Sci-Fi Channel videos. And then my mom ended up reading some of the books to us. So
one of the things that I have that, I'm a little nervous about is games that are based on a franchise that is dependent upon the chosen one.
Well, that's true.
Everybody can't play the main character. Doctor Who is,
everyone can't play the Doctor.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, you don't want the Doctor in your party.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say you don't want the Doctor in your party,
well,
but
you want the Doctor so that it goes smoother.
Right.
And you're not as challenged.
But not everybody can get to play the Doctor, and everybody else is so far below the Doctor that the Doctor automatically steals all of the stealing all of the wind there.
Yeah, that's true.
But I do want to see that. I am sure Hawk will get it as soon as it comes out, and we'll all get hopped up on spice and eaten by sandworms.
Yes, definitely eaten by sandworms at least once.
So, do you watch Netflix?
I love Netflix.
Have you watched this fiction series Altered Carbon?
No, I have not.
Well, this is, imagine a future in which the human mind can be digitalized and transferred between bodies.
I've seen lots and lots of movies and television shows based on this, though.
Right. Well, they're going to have their own tabletop role-playing game.
I think that's awesome.
From Hunters Entertainment. Hand me the red box on the end. Also, Dungeons and Dragons Starter Kit, Stranger Things Edition.
Oh.
We will be doing an unboxing of that during our meeting. That will be coming up at 6 o'clock. I'm trying to put this on a good camera, which means that you need to hold it.
I'm excited. I didn't even realize what was sitting next to me.
Yeah, we're going to be doing that in just under an hour. We're going to do an unboxing of that. So that's another Netflix franchise. It is Dungeons and Dragons, but this is like written by the characters in the story. So will be more about that. Altered Carbon is another show that's getting a franchise for role-playing games. That's kind of exciting. I would love to see DC Heroes come back out.
Yeah.
Even Marvel Heroes.
Marvel or DC. Right now is the pinnacle time because they're doing so... Both of them separately are doing so well on the cinematic universe. Thank you, DC, for finally not having all dark movies. It was slow paced too, but that's more akin to the comic books, and I appreciate that too. But
their comics are dark either. So
but they're slower paced, and they chose something to try and distinguish themselves from another group, and unfortunately, all it did was make their slower content with the bigger development of the characters go a lot slower and seem a lot slower because it was so dark.
Right.
You can really see that in the Superman arc.
You'll never guess what currently my favorite DC related movie is.
Is it Aquaman? Because I just watched that last night and
Nope, it's not Aquaman.
But that might also have something to do with the actor.
Yeah.
But
it's the tattoos, right?
It's the tattoos. And the fact that everything he does in life is kind of cool if you follow him as a person.
So,
I'm guessing then it's going to be Suicide Squad.
Nope.
Oh.
You're not going to think of the movie because it's not a superhero movie.
Oh, is it the one about the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
No, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is Marvel.
Marvel, but it's their equivalent of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Nope.
Then what is it?
My favorite DC-related movie is Dr. Marston and the Superwomen. Dr. Marston is the guy who invented Wonder Woman.
Oh.
So this is a biography about him and his two wives. Though legally he only had one wife and a shared mistress.
Mm-hmm.
But also, he was a psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
He invented the lie detector. And
I knew he was a scientist.
He was definitely a feminist. And he actually created Wonder Woman to be subversive, to introduce sexual content and to forward the feminist ideal and things like that as he saw it. It is very interesting.
Well, now I have another thing I need to go watch. Because, but like we were saying, though, it is the pivotal time with the popularity and the notoriety of games such as Dungeons and Dragons, and people getting excited and producing normal content that is relevant and getting the mass things of people entering dungeons and going on quests.
Right.
In board games even, I think this is the time.
So what we're seeing in front of Danielle, and that she's been popping up there, are things that we will be talking about today. We have a board game called Dungeon. We're thinking it's going to be kind of a hybrid RPG, more board game than RPG, but we want to examine it. Talisman is also a hybrid RPG board game combination.
All of these still have the wrapper.
Yep, we'll be unwrapping these. We'll do an unwrapping party for our next meeting for Applied Gaming. We will be running Dungeon if we're able to. Hawk will be opening up the starter set. House of Danger is one that we've already done an opening for. But tomorrow, between 8 and 11 on YouTube, we will be playing this game as an audience interactive. So that would be what we're going to be going over. House of Danger, audience interactive tomorrow at between 8 and 11 o'clock. Please join us. Please add your votes to how you want this story to go. If I get no votes, I will make the decision myself.
I might be here to help.
Yeah,
we might be rolling die.
Well, there are dice to be rolled, and that's when you the audience makes a decision, and it requires a dice roll. We'll do the rolling, and we will use a dice tower to make it as fair and equitable as possible. But I have one last news article that I want to talk about here. This wasn't in the links because it was an email, and I don't know how to share an email on my Discord server.
Yeah.
So, So, I have an email from Gen Con.
Oh.
Customer service at gencon.com to be specific. And it's talking about Road to Gen Con, and it's talking about 1 week left for the Rift Beastier Megaverse Insider offer. Here's the important one. Gamers in the Washington State Senate.
Ooh.
This week, Gen Con President David Hope joined a select group of industry professionals invited to present at the Washington State Senate's first ever work session. By this week, I should clarify that this was mailed out on March 29th.
So that would have been last week.
Yeah, so last week. So last week this happened, but I'm reading it directly from the article, so I don't have to change anything. So, this week, aka last week, Gen Con President David Hope joined a select group of industry professionals invited to present at the Washington State Senate's first ever work session focused on the tabletop gaming industry. The work session was designed to inform state Senate members about tabletop gaming's impact on the Washington State economy and included representatives from Wizards of the Coast, Paizo, I think Paizo is the correct pronunciation.
It's not Paizo?
Paizo. One of the 14 words I just used is the correct one. It's probably Paizo. Lone Shark Games and Green Ronin Publishing. The committee, which includes Washington Senators Mark Mullet and Steve Hobbs, heard about each company's experience in starting and developing their businesses during a series of panels Tuesday morning on the Capitol's campus. I would have sold one of my cats to have gone there.
Oh, and he loves his cats.
The information experience shared were invaluable in educating the state legislature on the tabletop gaming industry and community in Washington. And just to let you know, Steve Hobbs is a very big pro-gaming advocate. As a senator, he actually has his own convention and his own talk show.
probably why they made a lot of headway and got this through.
Yeah. If he wants to be on our talk show, I definitely need to invite him and see if I can get him to come on our talk show. And maybe we can talk about some ways that we can work together with RPG research and things like that. So, is there any news or anything that you think we've missed?
No. Not that I've seen this week, but I haven't been actively seeking things.
No, that's pretty much my job.
Yeah.
I do all the seeking you shall find
Well,
parts.
I found an article last week, but...
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. I just didn't have the extra time this week, and I didn't see anything on Saturday when I did look. It was a lot of, this game is releasing, and then me and Max going, release Overwatch.
Well, one of if you don't even present any articles, presenting articles are great, but also reading the articles, that also very helpful. I had a really exciting day when Hawk actually sat down and says, "Yes, I read all the articles you sent me." You did?
Yeah.
Nice.
I read all the articles last week too, but I usually have an hour that I spend driving from one place to another.
Okay. Well, this is the end of our articles. We had a lot of things to talk about, a lot of news in the different categories. Remember, the RPG research is about therapeutic gaming, educational gaming, and research on the benefits or hazards of role-playing games, though the evidence has shown that the hazards are quite small, except for in certain, like, ERPGs, electronic role-playing games. Too many hours can be a danger. Once you get to your 26th hour of not sleeping, everything's dangerous. So, everything in moderation, right?
Exactly. And it's all about how you structure your life, because you can spend a lot of time gaming, but if you are also getting up and moving and you're doing different kinds of games and you're not just sitting there and doing the same thing over and over again, there's not as much detriment that could happen.
Well, so happy gaming, dream well, as Hawk would say, namare, but I shouldn't be saying a word I can't pronounce anyways, and
good night.
Have a good night.
Good night.
So there's multiple parts to stopping it. First you stop OBS.
Okay, stop
Recording.